So we are reading Hands of Light by Barbara Brennan. We are on chapter 7, page number 43 of the book and page number 52 of the PDF.
The 7 layers and the 7 chakras of the auric field. Each layer appears different and has its own particular function. Each layer of the aura is associated with a chakra. That is, the first layer is associated with the first chakra, and the second with the second chakra, and so on. These are general concepts and will get much more complicated as we delve more deeply into this subject. For now, we will list them to give you a general overall view. The first layer of the field and the first chakra are associated with physical functioning and physical sensation, feeling physical pain or pleasure. The first layer is associated with automatic and autonomic functioning of the body. The second layer and second chakra are in general associated with the emotional aspect of human beings.
Okay, so what does this imply, right? We've got we've got layers of the auric field. We've got layers. And this has been captured by me also in aura photographs. I can show you a photograph. Let's see, at the end of today's session, I'll show you a photograph where you can actually see the 7 layers, right? Now, what she's saying over here is that each layer is associated with a certain aspect of the functioning of our consciousness or of our body system. So the first layer is associated with the autonomic nervous system. Now, what is this? This is called the ANS, and we talk a lot about it in the Resilience Advantage program. The ANS is which takes care of your bodily functions. 95 to 97% of what is happening in our body, we are actually not aware of. It happens on its own, right? For example, we are not aware of how saliva is forming. We are not aware how tears form in the eyes. Now, today, if the tears don't come in the eyes, you'll get something called dry eye syndrome, and it's extremely painful. We are not aware of how food gets digested. We are not aware of how repair and maintenance takes place in the physical body. This is all taken care of by the autonomic nervous system, which is associated with the first chakra, which is the base chakra, which is the aspect of how we are surviving, right? It is the case of survival, how things are functioning for us. That is what is associated with the first chakra. The second chakra is basically associated with emotions, right? It's also the sex chakra. That's what she is saying over here. But we'll delve more into it, right? So emotions and feelings will be associated with the second layer of the auric field.
They are the vehicles through which we have our emotional life and feelings. The third layer is associated with our mental life, with linear thinking. The third chakra is associated with linear thinking. The fourth level, associated with the heart chakra, is the vehicle through which we love not only our mates, but also humanity in general. The fourth chakra is the chakra that metabolizes the energy of love.
Okay, so then the third layer is the mental layer. The fourth layer is about love. It's about interpersonal relationships, about our connections that we make.
The fifth level is the level associated with a higher will, more connected with the divine will. The fifth chakra is associated with the power of the word, speaking things into being, listening, and taking responsibility for our actions.
So again, how do we act? One of the ways of acting is speaking our will, right? How do we speak? Are we impeccable with the word or not? When we are saying something, are we true to our word or not? This is something that we did in the 4 agreements, right? One of the 4 tenets was be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. So what happens here? When this is also associated with listening. So what happens to us many times is that when we listen to something which is adverse to us, we go off in a tizzy. So this is associated with our will to do and our will to be.
The sixth level and sixth chakra are associated with celestial love. It is a love that extends beyond the human range of love and encompasses all life. It makes the statement of caring and support for the protection and nurturing of all life. It holds all life forms as precious manifestations of God.
So again, this is also the chakra from where we act, right? Where we actualize what is happening. And let me tell you, love is the basis of everything that we are experiencing. If love is not there, then nothing is there. So this is the higher form of love. How do you experience life can also be associated with this chakra in my view.
The seventh layer and seventh chakra are associated with the higher mind, knowing, and integration of our spiritual and physical makeup.
So this is our connection with the Godhead, right? This is where we make that connection. And of course, actually, there are more layers to that aura, but this thing, it connects us with the divine. It is also the when the biofield is formed, the torus gets formed here, right? And it really connects us with the whole.
Thus, there are specific locations within our energy system for the sensations, emotions, thoughts, memories, and other non-physical experiences that we report to our doctors and therapists. Understanding how our physical symptoms are related to these locations will help us understand the nature of different illnesses and also the nature of both health and disease. Thus, the study of the aura can be a bridge between traditional medicine and our psychological concerns.
So again, every layer of the aura is dealing with a different aspect of our being, right? Now, say, suppose I'm having a problem which is associated actually with the fourth layer of the aura, and I'm attempting to treat it on the basis of the first layer, it will never work. So understanding where the issue is, how the issue is, will help us to transform and to handle any kind of issue that we are facing in life.
Location of the seven chakras. The location of the seven major chakras on the physical body, shown in figure 7, corresponds to the major nerve plexuses of the physical body in that area of the body. Dr. David Tansley, a radionics specialist, in his book Radionics and the Subtle Bodies of Man, states that the seven major chakras are formed at the points where the standing lines of light cross each other 21 times.
So again, when we are looking at the auric field, right, this is something that we talk about the axis system of the human body. We talk about it in the aura energy field and Vastu program a lot. We have an axis system. Those of you who have attended the biofield tuning also, we check the axis of the people, whether it's aligned or not aligned, right? So where are those? Those lines are here. So there's one axis like this, there's another axis like this. There are two diagonal axes, there's a perpendicular axis. Where these lines are crossing, that is where these nerve plexus or these chakras are actually formed.
The 21 minor chakras are located at points where the energy strands cross 14 times. See figure 2b. They are in the following locations: one in front of each ear, one above each breast, one where the clavicles meet, one in the palm of each hand, one on the sole of each foot, one just behind each eye, one related to each gonad, one near the liver, one connected with the stomach, two connected with the spleen, one behind each knee, one near the thymus gland, and one near the solar plexus. These chakras are only about 3 inches in diameter at 1 inch distance from the body. The two minor chakras located in the palms are very important in healing. Where the lines of energy cross 7 times, even smaller vortices are created. There are many tiny force centers where these lines cross fewer times. Tansley says that these tiny vortices may very well correspond to the acupuncture points of Chinese medicine.
So yeah, so again, where these lines are crossing, they become power centers. So the acupressure points may be also located in these areas. Now, we've been having a program called Radical Yoga by Asta Gulati. She talks a lot about these minor chakras, what each of them means. We are planning to have an advanced workshop also, where she'll be talking about how these chakras can be used for healing also, right? So again, this will work with the book that we are reading over here.
Each major chakra on the front of the body is paired with its counterpart on the back.
So these are various pictures, we'll come to it. एक बार Shipya, just show the pictures one by one. Let's just talk about it. So if you've seen the picture previously, that was basically where the major and the minor chakras are. This picture is basically the telluric template level. That is the 7th layer, I think. And then you have the celestial body, which is the 3rd layer. And the etheric. Okay, now over here, she's showing various pictures when people are getting annoyed or what happens, all basic, all different kind of cultures, pictures. And we have aura photos also, which literally correspond to what is being shown over here. This is thoda ulta pulta compared to the book anyway. So this is all where a clairvoyant is actually seeing how the aura appears to a person.
One minute.
Yes.
Niket?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, what is this auric field, etheric field? What are the differences between all of them?
Yeah, so you have the 7 layers, right? So the 7 layers are there, and each of them is related to a certain aspect.
Okay.
So each of them has a name.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. This Shipya, go down. Go more down. More down. More down. More down. More. Yeah, here. So these are the chakras, okay? So there are chakra at the back and the front, and there is a central channel which is there. That central channel is very important because the chakras are basically feeding what they are collecting from the environment into that central channel, into that central plex, and then it is distributed into the body system.
Okay. The Ida and the Pingala, that is.
You could say, yeah, the Ida and the Pingala and the Shushumna. That's the central channel. Niche jao, Shipya, one more. Okay, so now these are the levels, these are the layers. Okay.
Okay.
You have the first body, then you have the second body, you have the third body, the fourth body, and so on and so forth. So the first layer is the etheric layer, the second layer is the emotional layer, the third layer is the mental body, the fourth layer is the astral body, the fifth layer is the etheric body, the sixth layer is the celestial body, and the last layer is the kenthric body.
Okay. So what about the auric body? Which is the auric body?
So these are all the auric bodies.
Okay.
All of them are the auric bodies.
Yeah, they're the layers outside the body.
Yeah. So these are all auric bodies. They're all outside. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Shipya, you can go one page up. Yeah.
Sorry, I'll just continue from where we stopped.
No. I'll tell you. I'll read it. So each major chakra on the front and the back of the body is paired with its counterpart on the back of the body.
And together, they are considered to be the front and rear aspects of one chakra.
So what happens is that the front chakras has a certain aspect and deals with a certain aspect of that functioning of the body, and back chakra deals with another aspect. This comes out very well in Asta's program. We did this chakra, the 7 chakra mysteries also, where we check these chakras with the pendulum and all that. So she did a very good job in explaining this. What's the experience of the front chakra and what's the experience of the back chakra? Fantastic program. I think everyone should attend it.
The frontal aspects are related to the person's feelings, the rear ones to her or his will, and the 3 on the head to a person's mental processes. These are shown in the figures given. And so on through the 6th chakra. Chakras 1 to 7 may be considered to be paired if one wishes, because they are the open-ended points of the main vertical power current that runs up and down the spine, into which all the chakras point. The points or tips of the chakras where they connect to the main power current are called the roots or the hearts of the chakras. Within these hearts are seals which control exchange of energy between layers of the aura through that chakra. That is, each of the 7 chakras has 7 layers, each corresponding to a layer of the auric field.
So again, if you think of it as a conical thing, and it has membranes at each of the 7 layers, which connects it to the auric field. So every chakra is going through all the layers of the aura.
Each chakra looks different on each of these layers, as will be described in detail in the descriptions of each layer. In order for certain energy to flow from one layer to another through the chakra, it must pass through the seals in the roots of the chakras. Figure 7.4 shows the auric field with all 7 interpenetrating layers and all 7 interpenetrating layers of chakras. Energy can be seen flowing into all of these chakras from the universal energy field. Each swirling vortex of energy appears to suck or entrain energy from the UEF. They appear to function.
What does UEF mean? Universal energy field, right? So each of the chakras is absorbing energy from our environment, right? Now, this is what we are looking at when we are going in to see a person's house also now. So when we go into the house, basically what we do is we check the energy flow at these various chakric levels, and we can get a psychophysical analysis of what is happening in that space. Whether what is the income expenditure ratio, whether they have planning or not, whether they execute or not, what is the staff issue, whether productivity is there or not, whether people are happy or not, whether irritability levels are there or not. Just by checking the frequencies, we can tell you what is happening in the space. This is the basis on which we can do that.
They appear to function as do fluid vortexes we are familiar with in water or in air, such as whirlpools, cyclones, water spouts, and hurricanes. The open end of a normal chakra in the first layer of the aura is about 6 inches in diameter at a distance of 1 inch from the body.
So again, she's saying the size, right? So this is what has been observed by people who are clairvoyant, who can actually see the aura. So all these pictures that we saw just now, we went through it quickly, but these are all pictures which have been seen by clairvoyant people who can actually see the field around the person, and then they've made a painting out of it. In fact, there was an interesting workshop that we once did. We did it, the excursion workshop, we did it for artists. Okay. And what we told the artists, instead of sharing what you experience, make paintings of what you experience or drawings of what you experience. And some really lovely stuff came out. I'll just pull them out. And if I can share them with you all, I'll share them with you all.
the function of the 7 chakras. Each of these vortices exchanges energy with the UEF. Thus, when we speak of feeling open, that is literally true. All the major chakras, minor chakras, lesser chakras, and acupuncture points are openings for energy to flow into and out of the aura. We are like sponges in the energy sea around us. Since this energy is always associated with a form of consciousness, we experience the energy we exchange in terms of seeing, hearing, feeling, sensing, intuiting, or direct knowledge. No, knowing, direct knowing.
So the energy is always around us, right? And we are constantly interacting with the field. We cannot get out of the field because everything has a field. Every space around us has a field. How are we associating with that field? How are we operating in that field is what makes us what we are.
Therefore, we can see that staying open means 2 things. First, it means metabolizing a lot of energy from the universal field through all the chakras, large and small. Second, it means letting in and in some way dealing with all the consciousness that is associated with the energy that is flowing through us.
So again, we are influenced, we are affected. A certain result comes out whenever we are in a particular space, or what is the energy entering us. Like, so if you're, like they say that jaga ka asar padta hi hai. In the Mahabharata, Yudhishthir never lied, right? But when he went into that space, into a particular space, he couldn't help but lie, or he couldn't answer, right? So again, the space will automatically affect you, whether you like it or not. Unless your equanimity and centeredness is absolutely perfect, the space will always affect you. Yes, Bianca?
Hi, but yeah, I just wanted to ask you, like, if the energy field of somebody else around us is very negative, can we get pulled into that energy field also?
Okay, now see, being negative and positive is subjective. Okay, first and foremost. And if you are in the field of anyone, you will definitely get affected.
So how do you stop yourself from
By
getting
becoming the bigger magnet.
So by being centered.
So if I am a big magnet and a small magnet comes near me, who's going to get affected?
Small magnet. Yeah.
So the only way to be in your centeredness, the more centered you can be, the more resilient you are with your centeredness, the bigger your magnet becomes. That's why I'm encouraging everyone to attend these workshops. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They help you to become more centered. So today when you talk to people, I don't know if you were there when we had the Adda, whether you joined or not, you'd find everyone was saying that we are less irritated, we don't get annoyed so much, things don't bother us so much. What does that imply? Are they becoming bigger magnets or smaller magnets?
Bigger magnets.
So they are able to be more resilient within their situation, right? And how did they do it? By using the tools that you learn at the workshops. So this is a clear-cut and a sure-shot way of enhancing your centeredness. See, I tell you, I've been doing Vastu for a long time. Vastu and energy field rectification. What I found was that when we went and rectified someone's place, the problem got sorted out. Right? But then the problem reverted. Are you understanding? Then I figured out that if they are not going to change the way that they are operating, and they are following the same process they were following previously, then the problem is bound to return.
Okay.
You understand? So unless I have some tools to give to them with which they can change the way they are operating and they change the state of consciousness in which they operate, it is not going to work. And that's where the Monroe process, the heart math process, the energy field Vastu workshops, all these things are basically to enhance your state of centeredness. Nothing else. They don't do anything else. But if
Yeah,
you are more
what is-
centered, automatically you become more resilient.
What about animals? Do they absorb the field?
Absolutely same. In fact, animals are very, very perceptive. In fact, they are more perceptive than us.
Is it possible for them to take in the negativity around?
101%. Because they care for you, they will absorb it also. So there are many cases where dogs actually fall sick and the human owner gets better.
How does that happen?
Because the transfer, they pull the energy out.
So the
Today
dog himself,
you have this concept of swimming with the dolphins, right? When you swim with the dolphin radiates a sonar. And when it hits your body, they're able to detect anything that is out of balance. And they can send out a frequency which can heal you. But these are dolphins which live in the wild. So you'll find that dolphins it's a very therapeutic process, and it can be tremendously healing, swimming with the dolphins.
like for us, we can balance our chakras, but then for animals like a dog, how do they how can we help them balance their chakras?
Yeah, so you can balance the chakras of dogs also. So even the dogs have chakras in specific places. They're not exactly like the way that they appear in the human being, but you can test the chakras of a dog also. Okay. And you can actually heal the dog also.
How? Reiki.
The way that you'd heal yourself.
Reiki, is that only one option?
Reiki is one of the options, but there are many ways of healing a dog. Join the workshop, madam. Please join the workshop. Okay. You have to keep repeating that to you.
Okay. I'll join.
You're asking how to do it, but the how to is in the workshop.
Okay.
Today, I'll tell you, there are so many messages in the healing group coming for dogs, for their cats. And the dogs and cats are getting better because of the tools that the people in the workshop, they've learned it in the workshop and they're applying it. You're not in the healing group because you've not done the workshop.
Yeah, I'll join that.
Yeah, join. The next one is this weekend.
This weekend. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Raghuji, your hand is up.
Yeah, I just want to tell you that about 10 years back, my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, passed away. They have a nice dog, and he did not eat 1 week before her death. He could see her going away. He was just lying with her. He would not move out of her at all, and he would not eat anything. He was so sad, almost for 10 days.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
it became, as he was dying, more, it was nearer to death, it was getting more miserable, the dog. He could perceive that she's going away.
Correct, absolutely. There is one book by Rupert Sheldrake, the person who coined the term morphogenic field. How do dogs know their owner is coming home? In that, there's a story that there was this dog in a hospital, and whichever patient was going to pass away, the dog used to go and sleep under the bed of the patient. So the nurses used to get to know that, okay, now this person is going, when the dog used to go and sleep under the bed of the patient. Okay, so dogs and animals are very, very sensitive.
Actually,
okay, yes.
They can detect the cancer. They can take, for example, prostate cancer. When they started smelling your urine, then you know you have some problem with your prostate.
Yeah. So every disease has its signature smell, and animals can smell it. There's also a lot of stories where how horses are very, very therapeutic, especially to special children. How just being in the presence of horses, it helps the children to heal themselves and to systemize themselves. In fact, there is a documentary which we show sometimes in the Gateway Voyage, where the soul of the horse can be seen coming out from an auric field and going into another horse and being gone. So it's amazing, this stuff. Okay. Right. Bianca, does it answer your question? Okay.
Yes, right.
Okay, now someone was asking how to join the workshop. You need to connect with Gargi I'm just putting her number on the chat. Okay, so anyone wanting to join, there are few spots left. You can talk to Gargi, she'll help you to register. Okay.
That is not an easy task, and most of us cannot do it. There would simply be too much input. Psychological material related to each chakra is brought to consciousness by increasing one's energy flow through the chakra. Too much psychological material would be released by a sudden flow of energy, and we could not process it all. We therefore work in whatever growth process we are in to open each chakra slowly so that we have time to process the personal material that is released and integrate the new information into our life.
Right. So this is what, when the flow of energy through the chakras gets it grows exponentially, then something called spiritual emergencies can take place, where, you know, a person can become a little psychotic also. And the normal medical system has no way to decide it. So they term the person as psychotic and crazy, right? But the person may be actually having a spiritual emergency. There are many books on spiritual emergencies. One of the things is when the Kundalini starts to rise and the person is not prepared, the body system of the person is not prepared to handle that flow of energy, then a person can have very adverse effects of this rise of energy. So that's why it's always good to do it one step at a time. Okay. Slowly increase your resilience, slowly increase your capacity to handle these states of consciousness. This is why, again, I really love the Monroe process, because before we go into states of consciousness, you have a preparatory process before every exercise. So you go through the preparatory process, which sets you up to be able to experience that state of consciousness that we are going to experience. And it does it in such a beautiful way. And I keep telling this to people, that what took me 25 years to do, in literally 2 days, you actually experience it. And you experience it in a very safe and a very protected way, right? Which is literally, according to me, not possible in any other system, at least that I have personally experienced.
It is important to open the chakras and increase our energy flow, because the more energy we let flow, the healthier we are. Illness in the system is caused by an imbalance of energy or a blocking of the flow of energy. In other words, a lack of flow in the human energy system eventually leads to disease.
So what is it we are saying, right? That when the energy is not flowing in the system, this will cause the disease. So the more resilient we are, the better our energy flow automatically is.
It also distorts our perceptions and dampens our feelings, and thus interferes with a smooth experience of full life. We are not psychologically prepared, however, to stay open without working and developing our maturity and clarity.
So again, if you are not growing in the states of consciousness that you operate at, that is what he's talking about. She's talking about maturity and clarity, and you go into these higher states, then you can start misusing the states because your clarity of thought is not there. That's why even in the Gateway Voyage, one of the first things that Robert Monroe talks about in his first session with everyone is that we need to be aware of our thoughts. We are not aware of our thoughts. What are we thinking? How are we thinking? Becomes extremely important. Okay. Before the session, we were talking about the resilience grid. Which side of the grid are you operating from really becomes important. Is what you're saying or doing depleting you, or is it uplifting you? That becomes the question that we need to keep asking ourselves. Because if we are not mature and don't have clarity of thought, then we can create huge problems for ourselves.
Each of the 5 senses is associated with a chakra. Touching is associated with the first chakra, hearing, smelling, and tasting with the 5th, and seeing with the 6th or the 3rd eye chakra. This is discussed in detail in the chapter on perception. The chakras of the auric body have 3 major functions: to vitalize each auric body and thus the physical body, to bring about the development of different aspects of self-consciousness. Each chakra is related to a specific psychological function. Chapter 11 deals with the psychological effects of opening specific chakras in the etheric, emotional, and mental bodies.
So as I said, each of them is associated with a psychological function. That is why we can go into a space and just by measuring the frequency at which or the level at which or how that frequency associated with every chakra in the energy flow in that environment is, we can get a psychophysical analysis of what is happening in the space.
To transmit energy between the auric levels, each auric layer has its own set of 7 major chakras, each located in the same place on the physical body. Since each progressive layer exists in ever-increasing octaves of frequency, this is possible. For example, for the 4th chakra, there are really 7 chakras, each of a higher frequency band than the lower one.
So again, this is dealing with harmonics, right? They are working with harmonics. When you tap one key in a piano, you'll find that many wires start to vibrate because it is in harmonics. Okay. So even the chakras, they have seven frequencies associated with the same chakra.
These chakras appear to be nested within each other like nesting glasses. Each chakra on a higher layer extends out further in the auric field to the edge of each auric layer and is slightly broader than the one below it.
So this is something
Energy
like
is transmitted.
This is also something like Russian dolls. Each of the chakras is within each one and growing bigger.
Energy is transmitted from one layer to the next through passageway. I can't hear any. I can't hear.
Yeah, you
any.
lost it. Start again.
Yeah. Energy is transmitted from one layer to the next through passageways in the tips of the chakras. In most people, these passageways are sealed. They open as a result of spiritual purification work, and thus the chakras become transmitters of energy from one layer to another. Each chakra in the etheric is directly connected to the same chakra in the next finer body that surrounds and interpenetrates it. The chakras in the emotional body are connected to those in the next finer body, the mental, etc., and so on for the 7 layers.
So again, someone who's operating only at the material or the physical layer, the chakra that is operating in that layer will be transmuting the energy. When the person rises in level of consciousness, then the emotional part of that chakra will also start putting in energy. Then as the consciousness arises, it goes into the mental zone. That chakra will also start, that frequency will also start coming. Then into the celestial love layer and so on and so forth, right? And then when all the chakras are open, all the 7 chakras within that one chakra get open, then you are getting the full transmission of that energy. But then to operate at that level of consciousness, you have to be in that level of consciousness. Otherwise, you are not going to get that essence of that. The chakras are at the higher levels of consciousness. The frequencies are not going to come into your system.
In Eastern esoteric literature, Each of the chakras is seen as having a certain number of petals. On closer investigation, these petals appear to be small, rotating vortices spinning at very high rates. Each vortex metabolizes an energy vibration that resonates at its particular spin frequency.
So again, each chakra is there, and then they have minor chakras inside the chakra. And each of these chakras is spinning at a different vibratory frequency or a nuance of that particular frequency. The frequency of the whole chakra is a sum total or the base value of all these spinning vortexes. So each of them is harmonizing energy from the environment at a specific frequency.
The pelvic chakra, for example, has 4 small vortices and metabolizes 4 basic frequencies of energy, and so on for each of the other chakras. The colors observed in each chakra are related to the frequency of energy being metabolized at its particular rate.
So again, each color has its own frequency. Each taste has its own frequency. Each sound has its own frequency. Likewise, over here, what is happening is that every chakra, when seen by a clairvoyant, is seen to be operating or radiating at a particular color. That is that base frequency that that particular chakra is associated with. Yes, Chachi? Chachi, you want to ask? Your hand is up. Okay.
Since the
No,
chakra
I don't have to
serves to
ask.
vitalize,
Yeah, Chachi? Okay.
since the chakras serve to vitalize the body, they are directly related to any pathology in the body. The figure 7.5 lists the 7 major chakras along the spine with the area of the body each governs. Each chakra is associated with an endocrine gland and a major nerve plexus. The chakras observe the universal or primary energy, chi, orgone, prana, etc. Break it up into component parts and then send it along energy rivers called nadis to the nervous system, the endocrine glands, and the blood to nourish the body, as shown in figure 7.6.
So what is happening? Each of the chakras is associated with the endocrinal system of the body. So each of them is associated. Now, what are the endocrinal glands, right? They are the ones which are secreting the chemicals, which creates the homeostasis, which regulates the body, right? The body has to be in homeostasis. The chemicals which are secreted by these glands cause the body to get into homeostasis. Homeostasis means balance, equanimity, equilibrium. It starts functioning in a proper way. So if the energy that is being absorbed by the chakras is not enough or more or not in balance, the endocrinal gland is going to get affected, and that will affect the physical body. So now, how is the energy coming into the system? Shipya, you can take it down a little bit. Okay, so the chakra is absorbing the primary energy from the environment. This energy gets transmuted in the chakras and comes into the nadi system. The nadi system is connected with the nervous system. The nervous system puts it into the endocrinal system, and through the endocrinal system, it goes into the bloodstream, right? And then the blood goes to each and every cell of our body to give it that energy which is being absorbed. So now we think that we are getting most of our energy from eating, but actually we are getting most of our energy through this system. Okay, not through the act of eating. So you can survive without eating for 7 days, for 30 days, right? But you can't survive without breathing. And one of the ways that this entire thing works is through the breath also, right? So it's all interrelated and interconnected.
So, Niket, these autoimmune problems occur because of this?
Yeah. So if the
Autoimmune
nerve
problems,
plexes are not functioning properly, autoimmune diseases can take place, 101%. So that's why biofield tuning is so effective, because it clears up the field so that it can start functioning in a proper way. And we are finding people who are depressed, people who are little psychotic, all those people are getting helped by biofield tuning. In fact, they say that years of psychotherapy, what years of psychotherapy doesn't do, biofield tuning does that. That's what their experience has been abroad. Of course, I don't have that much of experience with psychotic people, but that's what Eileen says, at least, that years and years of psychotherapy have not been able to solve the problem, but few sessions of biofield tuning sets the person right. Okay, so it really works on clearing the nerve plexus. Bianca, you want to say something?
Yeah, so if you energize all these chakras, things like problems with the thyroid, diabetes, the glands not secreting the hormones properly, all that will be balanced?
It should, technically speaking. But the challenge is to really understand, because again, it's a matter of perception, right? Whether they are really functioning properly, not functioning properly, etc. Now, again, as we said over here, there are various layers of functioning. So you have the physical layer, you have the emotional layer, you have the mental layer, then you have the normal love layer, then upper layers, right? So now if, let us say today in the afternoon, I was testing someone, right? I found he's having a prostrate problem. When I tested with the antenna and with the pendulum on the autonomical chart, I found there's a problem in the bladder, right? Now, when I tested him, whether that problem is coming at a physical level or not, it turned out that the bladder has a problem at the mental level. Now, if I'm going to attempt to solve it at a physical level, it's not going to get solved. So I have to put some strategy in place which will deal with it at a mental level, not at the physical level. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
So a lot of times we try to solve it at the wrong level. That's why it never gets solved.
It will not get solved. Or even if you get momentary relief, it will come back. Okay, so what level of the aura the problem is at, or what level of consciousness the problem is occurring at, you need to solve it at that level. You cannot solve it at another level.
Okay, I understood now. Thank you.
The psychodynamic functioning of the chakras, which will be discussed in detail, relates mainly to the first three bodies of the aura, those associated with physical, mental, and emotional interactions on the earth plane. For example, when one's heart chakra is functioning properly, one is very good at loving. When the first chakra is functioning healthfully, one usually has a strong will to live and is connected well to the ground. This is the person who is very grounded in his life. When someone's sixth and third chakras are functioning well, he will think clearly. If they are not functioning well, his thoughts will be confused.
Okay, so again, how we function and the way that we are living life as we are living life will depend on how these chakras are actually functioning. Raghuji, you have something to say? You're muted.
Yes. Most of the diseases are psychosomatic. What I found is I've been doing a lot of chronic healing. I always do a psychic healing before the physical healing. It helps quite a lot because 99% of the, or 95% of the diseases are caused by psychosomatic problems. Even Brennan says it somewhere, but in principle, healing at a psychic level is absolutely essential. It's fundamentally, it creates a space for healing much faster.
Absolutely.
That's what I experienced.
101%. Because if you're not clear and the flow of the energy is not clear, and that happens psychically, when you get psychic attacks, etc., then it will just not work. It will simply not work. Right. So I think we'll stop here. I'll just show you some pictures of the aura. I'll show you the 7 layers that I got in an aura. 1 second. Let me pull it up. Shipriya, I have to stop the sharing. 1 second. Let me pull it up. So we talk a lot about this in the Vastu and Aura field. Okay, can you all see the pictures? So if you see this aura, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 there. Even this you'll see 7 there. Can you all see it? This picture is not very clear, but you can really see the 7 layers of it. So when you get a psychic attack, these are the pictures which come. So when you are psychically attacked, and what Raghuji was saying, that unless this is taken care of, okay, no other healing will take place. Especially when this is there, I've told you all before, that the person literally loses his shirt. And I mean, they really lose their shirt when this happens. Okay. Anyone, anything to add or say? Any questions? I thought we stopped here because we'll start doing the layers of the aura in the next class, in the next session.
Niket, this last picture which you had shown, so that has those entities in it.
Yeah. So it's like the aura has got taken care of, taken over.
Yeah. Taken over, yeah.
It's got taken over. Becomes a big problem. The only thing that I've seen works with it is that the person has to hear waves of love. That's a hemisync track 24/7. That's the only cure for that, this kind of a field I've seen. I've not found any other cure for it.
So, Bhaiya, you'll be able to see somebody and see this auric field around them.
I can see the first layer, but we have equipment to take these pictures, right? So we can take the pictures.
What is the equipment called?
It's called a ProGen Aura camera.
Wow. Okay. Would
Right,
you be able to read all our auric fields? Like if you saw us now?
What do you mean by that?
Or just even in Zoom, would you be able to like just see us and know like what kind of an auric field we have?
Nothing is hidden. You have to have ears to see. I'd rather ears to hear, eyes to see, mouth to taste, and nose to smell. It's perfectly possible, but I won't do it.
Maybe individually if you want.
Join the workshop. For Bianca, it's only one mantra. Join the workshop. Oops, sorry.
Okay.
1 second.